The most important game of the group stage for Mexico. Yes, you read that correctly. That's the title of this transmission. And let me explain to you why this is the most important game for Mexico. You know, all the pundits, all the other content creators, they're talking about how this is a glorified friendly. Mexico are already through to the knockout stages of the tournament. Blah, blah, blah. This is an opportunity for Aguirre to try out fresh faces, play some players who's never played before. There's rumor and innuendo that Ochoa is gonna start, you know, and there's a lot of conjecture about that. But let me tell you guys something right now. This game, I'm exaggerating a little bit with it being the most important game of the group stage, because I would say this is the second most important game of the group stage, the first being the first game, the opening game between Mexico and South Africa, because a loss in the opening game would have been absolutely catastrophic on various levels. But this one would also be catastrophic if we lose to the Czechs tonight. And let me tell you why. Mexico is going into the knockout stages with zero pressure, guys. And this is the first time that's ever happened, to my knowledge. At least as long as I've been following the team in my lifetime, I have never witnessed a World Cup where Mexico is literally not breaking a sweat, going into the third game of the group stage, already confirmed to be going to the knockouts. This is unprecedented. So it's crucial that we keep this momentum going, that we keep our P's and Q's. You know, I'm not saying they need to keep the clean sheets going. I won't be surprised, if I'm being honest with you, if Czech actually scores on us. But guys, this game is important. This is not some nothing game. Like, yeah, the Czechs have a lot more to play for because we're qualified. But granted, we still have to maintain this momentum that we have right now, because this is unprecedented, man. This is our first time ever that I've ever witnessed in my lifetime. You know, that Mexico is they're actually going into the third group game with no sweat, no slouch, and they're gonna go into the knockout stages already guaranteed, not having lost a game. They're undefeated. They haven't even conceded a goal. Like, this is unheard of for the Mexican national team, bro. As much as I love Mexico as a Mexican American and as a Mexico fan, like, bro, they don't have the best record at the World Cup. You know, if you look through their history of results, it shows they do not have the best record. This is unprecedented what we're doing right now. So it is very, very important that we win this game to go into the knockout stages with confidence. Because even a draw, honestly, even a draw will be it'd be kind of low vibes, man. I want to say. And the reason I say that is because, honestly, even though Mexico has been getting results, they've been winning their games. As I mentioned, they haven't even conceded a goal in the entire group stage thus far. Bro, they have not looked very good, though. Beyond that, beyond their defensive prowess, they haven't looked all that convincing in their attack, in their form of creating chances. Like, bro, the goal against South Korea, everybody in their mom knows that came off of a mistake. If it had not been for that goalkeeper mistake, the game would have ended in a draw, you know, and we'd be having a different discussion right now. So we need to really start forming a game plan on how to create chances. You know, right now it seems like they're just dead set on, they're playing not to lose. Like, the team's not playing to win, they're playing not to lose. And the first game against South Africa was the one that really that was really telling. That's when I realized, like, you know, the first game against South Africa, when you had 2 South African players get ejected via red cards, and yet the Mexican team still laid back and was content to just play on defense and not really press, not really, you know, send numbers up the pitch. Like, that was really telling. But then I figured, okay, you know what? It's the opening game. There's literally 1 billion plus people watching this game. There's a lot of pressure on these guys, especially the youngsters. Guys like Brian Gutierrez, who's been getting a lot of unnecessary criticism lately. But nonetheless, like, dude, there was a lot of pressure. So I figured, you know, we gotta let this slide, because that's understandable. It's the opening game. But then I see that first half against South Korea, and really the whole game, in all honesty. I see that game, and then that was the one that really pretty much set it in stone for me that, yeah, this is just how Mexico plays. And we're going to have to accept that as Mexico fans. But I'm telling you right now, if I was a neutral, like in another lifetime, another timeline, in an alternate universe, if I was like a white American guy or a fucking black guy or a Chinese guy, Japanese guy, and I was watching that game, I would have turned it off. I would have been like, bro, this is a boring ass game. Why am I watching this? This is trash. Like, this is embarrassing. This is the host of the World Cup playing like little bitches. They got fucking they got 3 CDMs in the midfield. Like, come on, bro. Like, that's crazy. Technically 3 CDMs, right? They have Eric Lira, they put Romo, and then Edson Alvarez as CB. You know, it's technically a CDM. Like, they were playing scared from the jump. Like, if I was a neutral, I wouldn't have even watched that game. Like, I would have turned it off after that first half. Like, nah, I'm not watching this. You know? But I stuck with it, of course, because I'm a Mexican American. I'm a Mexico fan. I love to watch the team play through the thick and thin, man. But like, it's just crazy though to see that type of performance, in all honesty. So let's talk about Memo Ochoa, because that's been a big talking point going into this game. The heavy rumors suggesting Memo Ochoa is gonna start, and you have a lot of content creators and pundits alike arguing about whether this is a smart decision or not. One of the pundits that I listen to and take seriously, I have a lot of respect for him, is Hercules Gomez. He's a former player, Mexican American. I like a lot of his takes. A lot of his opinions are pretty fair and balanced. But he's one of them that, you know, suggests starting Ochoa would be a big mistake. Like, you know, simply because Tala Rangel needs the experience at this level. And I agree with that. I do. But I feel like starting Ochoa and then subbing him out during the game so he can get that standing ovation, you know, I don't see that as a problem, honestly. I don't see no harm, no foul in that. I don't think Tala Rangel missing like 30 minutes of one half is gonna affect his form. You know, I know he's, you know, he has that brilliant double save from the last game against Korea. But again, I don't see no harm, no foul, man. And Memo Ochoa just playing, you know, 30 minutes. I mean, even if he plays the whole half, I doubt it. I wouldn't do that. If I'm the coach, I'm subbing him out at the 35th or 40th minute, right before the first half ends. That way he gets that big reception, that big fanfare, and passes the torch to Tala Rangel for, you know, because he's going to be our starting goalkeeper for the rest of the World Cup. We have to support him at this point, whether you were Team Malagon or Team Rangel. It is what it is at this point, you know. So yeah, man, that's what I would do. I don't see no harm, no foul, and Ochoa playing a little bit. Now, if he plays the full 90, then we've got a little bit of a problem, because yeah, that doesn't make any sense to stifle, you know, Tala Rangel's run of form right now, just to give Ochoa some kind of send-off that shouldn't last the full 90 minutes. You know, he's you know, I've been watching Ochoa in these training videos going into this game, and he does look his age, man. He really does. Like, not in his face, but in his body. He's not as quick. He's not as reactive. You know, he is looking his age. You know, I know goalkeepers, they have a lot longer of a shelf life than regular players because they don't have to run. They're just there in between the sticks, ready to react to any kind of attacks, any kind of shots. But, you know, he is looking his age now at 40, and it's time. It's time, man. And I don't see a problem with him playing a few minutes, man. Give him half an hour and then sub his ass out. Pass the torch, man. That's you know, that's a time-honored tradition, I would surmise. You know, this game is really interesting to me because when the groups were first, well, before this World Cup started, I have an audio recording of me doing group stage predictions, and it was mainly who's gonna come in first, second, and third. But of course, for Group A with Mexico in the mix, I did delve a little bit deeper into that one. And I said from the very beginning, I said South Africa doesn't scare me, South Korea doesn't scare me, but the Czech Republic does kind of scare me. Just because Mexico struggles against taller, more physical teams. So it's it's been said that the Czechs are actually the tallest players in the whole World Cup. Like the Czech national team, on average, their players are the tallest players in this entire World Cup. So there's some merit to that, to my prediction, because I said Mexico would beat South Africa and they would beat South Korea. But then when it came down to the Czech Republic, I made a statement that Mexico would either draw or lose. And I just opened this transmission here with the fact that this is a very crucial game and Mexico can't afford to lose because of this unprecedented momentum that we have, and it's even more so. Like I really need to emphasize that, like, this game is not some run-of-the-mill glorified friendly like people are making it out to be. There's a lot riding on this game, actually, because the last thing we want is to go into the knockout round with a L hanging over our heads. That is not good. Mexico has a history of being kind of mental midgets, bro. Like when Mexico is down, like when they're down a goal, when they're... That's another thing, too. That's another thing. Hot take alert. You could call me an idiot if you want to, but, like, I actually want Mexico to get scored on this game. Hear me out. I want them to get scored on because of the fact that they've kept the clean sheet. I feel like that's just going to add to the pressure and expectation of them to continue this defensive form, and keep clean sheets. And I'm scared that in the knockout stages, when they're playing the Scotlands or Englands in the round of 16, the moment they get scored on, they're gonna turn into mental midgets. They're gonna panic, like, oh my God, we conceded a goal, and it's not gonna be good. Like, I feel like, it's gonna affect them psychologically because they kept clean sheet up until that point. So I actually hope the Czechs score on Mexico, bro. I believe it or not. I feel like even if they score, we should manage a draw, if nothing else. But to me, this is a game that we should win. And I know I said it in the group stage predictions that once it gets to the Czech Republic, Mexico is either going to draw or lose. But this is a game we should win. I'm going to say we're going to win this 2-1. A very, very low-scoring 2-1. Wouldn't even surprise me if this is a 1-0 win for Mexico. Yeah, I'm changing my prediction, so what? But I wouldn't be surprised if this turns into a draw. You know what? Actually, nah. Let me hold it down for my crown, actually. I'm going to stick to my guns and say that this game is going to be a draw, actually. I'm going to say a 1-1 draw, possibly even a 0-0 draw. But I'm going to stick to my guns, though, and say this is going to be a draw. Just because I don't think Mexico is going to play this... They're going to suddenly play this aggressive, cohesive, attacking football that we want to see them play. There's nothing from the Korea game or the South Africa game that convinces me that Mexico is, going to change the course and suddenly attack, and do all the things that we want to see them do. They haven't shown me anything leading up to this, that they have that extra gear in them. Would I love to see it? Hell yeah. Really, I said it in the last transmission, man. I really hope that, we see something different from this team, because they haven't been very convincing in either of these games that we did win, but they haven't been convincing. So I hope... As for rotations, yes, I want to see rotations. I disagree with this notion that, we need to rest players. We need to rest our key players. That's a talking point that I've been hearing a lot right now from different content creators and as well as pundits, that we need to rest key players. Like, bro, how do we need to rest players when there's a whole week in between games? Like, that don't make no damn sense, bro. This isn't like the previous World Cups where there's like a game every 3 days. Like, there's like a whole week in between games, give or take 1 day, right? Like we played last Thursday, and here we are on Wednesday this week playing. But ain't nobody need to rest. I understand protecting players from injury. If that's what they mean by resting players, I could see that point as protecting players from injury. But like, there's no need to rest anybody. If it's me, I am going to do rotations, though. I would like to see rotations, because there are some players that definitely deserve a chance to play. One of them being Obed Vargas, 100%, because Obed Vargas came on in the South Korea game, and he looked like, he's been playing at this level for years. Like, that dude's a stud. We need to see Obed Vargas start. Rumors of Gilberto Mora starting, that's a possibility as well that I wouldn't mind seeing. Look, if it's me, I'm the armchair coach here with a bag of Doritos, con chile, limon, and a cold chela. And if it's me putting this lineup together for this game, yes, I'm gonna start Memo Ochoa, but I'm gonna sub him out before the half ends to give him that round of applause and to properly pass the torch to Talarangel, as he's gonna be the main goalkeeper for the rest of this tournament. And at right back, it's gonna be Isra Reyes. I am not under any circumstances putting Jorge Sanchez in any game, quite frankly. I don't know how that dude gets playtime like he does. He had no business starting against South Korea. You had Piojo doing a better job as a right back than Isra, or than Jorge, and that's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. If it's me, I'm putting Isra as the right back, and I'm reuniting the pairing of Montes and Vasquez at center back. And at left back, I am starting Gallardo. And the only reason I'm starting him over Mateo is because he has experience. And these Czech players are going to come fast and furious. They're going to be attacking. They have something to play for. They're trying. They can still, qualify into the knockout stages with a win over Mexico. So they should come out swinging, guns blazing, and I think someone more experienced should start. But I would sub in Mateo Chavez in the second half to give him some looks. He deserves to play, I think. In the midfield, I'm actually gonna swap Eric Lira for Edson, man. And the only reason I'm doing that is not because of that we need to rest certain players. It's not because of that. It's just because Edson had such a tremendous game against Korea that I feel like it would be criminal to have him benched in this game. We need to see if he could ball out at his actual position, CDM, the way he did at CB in the last game. So I'm putting Edson, and as the CMs, I'm putting Obed Vargas and Il Mora. I'm putting them as the CMs. Now, this is where it gets interesting, because for me, at the left wing, it's not going to be Quiñones. I'm actually going to put Alexis Vega. Yeah, I know. Alexis Vega is gutter trash, but he's all we have. There's really nobody else. Because in the right wing, I would actually start Chino Huerta. And the only reason I would start Chino over Piojo is just to see if Chino is a valid replacement for Piojo. God forbid that dude gets injured or carded, suspended for the next match or something along those lines, which is very possible because he was doing a lot of defensive work. So I want to see if Chino has what it takes, man, to be that replacement winger should something happen to Piojo, because El Vasco he's stubborn, man. He's not going to change formations. We don't have good wingers, but he's going to stick with the formation. He's going to keep it traditional, and it is what it is. But I understand it. I understand it, in all honesty, because, this ain't FIFA, man. This ain't EAFC 26, where you can fuck around and do all these fantasy formations and lineups. Like, this is the World Cup, bro. This is real life. Like, we need to play it safe. We're at home. We don't want to get fucking embarrassed. I honestly think that's, like, the number one mission for Aguirre and his team is, like, we just don't want to get embarrassed this World Cup. Like, if we get eliminated in the round of 32, round of 16, whatever, as long as we put up a fight, but we don't want to get embarrassed. That's it. And you could see it in how they're playing. They're playing, they're playing not to lose. They're not really playing to win, it looks like. But anyway, my striker is Julian Quiñones. I would start him as striker. It would be a travesty if we go this entire tournament without Quiñones starting as striker at least one time, the dude's on fire. He looks to be our most dangerous attacker right now. And that's his natural position, to play as striker. I understand, like, I love Raul just as much as the next guy. I have a lot of respect for him, his story. It's like a Hollywood movie, man. The dude almost died. He had almost a potentially life-threatening head injury in a game, was out for 2 years, and then he just made this crazy comeback. And never mind that, like, I'll never forget that Chilena against Panama all those years ago. I jumped up and down, man, after that. Like, I love Raul, but bro, Quiñones is in better form right now, and he looks more dangerous. He looks more full of life. Give him that opportunity as striker. Like, if there's any game to play with that with that idea, it's this one. So I would give that number 9 t-shirt, number 9 jersey to Julian Quiñones for this match and start him as the 9. And that would be my lineup, man, going in against the Czechs. You know, I want to say before I get off this, you know, when it comes to the lineup, I do want to say the criticism that Brian Gutierrez has been getting towards him, it's been really off-putting, because this kid, he came out of nowhere and proved a lot of people wrong and has been playing tremendous. Yeah, he had one bad game against South Africa, but, like, bro, he was nervous. He was clearly not, you know, used to that level of atmosphere, and that's got to be understandable. But in the game against Korea, he by no means had a bad game. It wasn't necessarily a good game, not a great game, certainly, but it wasn't a bad game. He got a 7 rating, by the way. So, like, there's certain people, certain content creators that are just really shitting on this guy, on this kid, really, 22-year-old kid, man. And, like, bro, it's really unnecessary. Now, with him being benched, do I mind it? No, I don't. I actually would agree he should be benched for this game, but I wouldn't mind seeing him come on for a Mora or Obed in the second half. He's a good player, man. One bad game does not, you know, determine the rest of his performances. Like, people are really reactive, bro. People just hop through conclusions, bro. It's crazy. Like bunny rabbits, just hopping through conclusions. But yeah, man, it's gonna go down tonight. Mexico, Czech Republic, 6 p.m. Pacific. I'm actually at work right now. Y'all could probably hear my truck, its engine revving as I'm recording this in the background. But hopefully, knock on wood, I actually get off, you know, early enough today so I could see the game from the beginning. Unlike the Korea game where I had to have my wife just pause that game for me so I could pretend like I'm watching it with everybody else, even though it was already over. So yeah, man, hopefully I get home early enough to catch the game from the get-go. And vamos Mexico, let's do it, let's go.